In this exercise, we're going to discuss sketch line types. Inside of a sketch, we have basically 4 different types of lines. If I open up this sketch, my part here, say sketch 5, orientate it so you can see it, I have 2 different lines. First one's a little bit harder to see, is this dotted line, and it's a construction line. Come up here, I can turn it off, turn it into a regular line. If I want to turn it into a construction line, you hit the little construction line button up here. Looks like a little bit like an airplane. What this does is this shows up in the sketch, but whenever you go to do something with it, it will not show up. So if I was to do extrude, for example, into this area, it's not going to find that. It's not going to find that sketch line type. If I hit finish and I go to extrude, you can see it ignores that. It pretends like it's not even there. It says, hey, I don't know what that is, so I'm not even going to pay attention to it. You could go ahead and do whatever you wanted to do here. Turn that sketch back on so we can see it. So it ignores it. Now you will notice that there's some additional geometry in here that looks a little bit funny. If I just come over here and draw a line beside this, I'll go this way too so you can see what it looks like in front of the color. You'll notice my line's green. If I sketch this out with a dimension on it, and then I come up here and I do this collinear to here, and I say horizontally equal here and here, that line's fully constrained. Reactivate the line here again. So you can see I have a green line, which means it's move around willy-nilly, it's not constrained at all. I have a black line that's fully constrained. Then I have this purple line. It's fully constrained because I can't drag it. What that is that's showing me that that's reference geometry. I took and I used the project geometry command and I projected in this little ellipse arc type deal here in the end of this part. If I do project geometry again, I can actually get the top part of that. So by it being purple, it's telling me, hey, that this is some kind of projected geometry. I can use it as a boundary. I can use it as construction geometry. I can use it as a center line. Anything I want to do with it, I can use it. I just cannot change it. Can't trim it, can't modify it. It's pretty much locked down. If I come in here and I right click on it, I can say break link. What that does is that breaks the link to the object. Now because I projected the entire loop at once, it won't let me do one line at a time. So I'd have to come over to this loop, right click on it and say break link. And that'll break the link to that entire loop. Had I just come in here and projected this top line, for example, I could come in here and say break link on that one line. But it has to be everything that you projected basically at one time. So I can break that link, and at that time I can move it, I can manipulate it, I can change the size of it, I can dimension it. Most of the time when you project geometry, you want it to be there, you want it to be kind of an anchor, so you don't want to do that. Next sketch geometry I'm going to look at is the center line. Center line I find most commonly used whenever I'm doing either symmetrical things or I'm doing round things such as revolves and sometimes some sweep paths and things like that. I will use the center line. But most of the time it's going to be a revolve or it's going to be the symmetrical constraint. What you created is you just draw a standard line, select it, and you turn it on. You don't want it to be a center line anymore, you can select it and turn it off. You do have the option of making a construction center line. If you come up here and you hit construction or center line and then start drawing, it will be, in this instance, a construction line. If I do it again with the center line turned on, it'll be the center line type. So it automatically knows to either turn it on or turn it off. I don't like doing that because I never remember to turn it off. Then I go to draw some real geometry and it starts yelling at me, hey, I don't know what's going on. And it's because I forget to turn those off. So I do manually select these and turn them on and off as I need. You're going to be seeing the construction centerline geometry quite a bit. Inventor is very much a heads up visual notification type system. So it is very important to take note of the different colors of line types. Back in AutoCAD, back in the day, we did pin tables for line widths and different reasons like that. Inventor only changes the colors of lines to tell you something. So if it's changing that color of that line, it's trying to tell you what it is. So take note of what those are and try to notice them as we go through future exercises. You'll see more and more of these construction and center line types.